Let's think about all that Steve and Kaylee Goncalves know, all that they said they knew, and all that they knew back on November 13th, when the curtains, facing the east, parted, giving us a much-needed break of day. In our first example, Kaylee's parents, Christy and Steve, expressed that they did not know what had happened to Kaylee until the autopsies were performed. Kaylee's autopsy was performed on November 16, 2022 at 4:50 p.m. After learning from the autopsies, Steve went public with mention of Kaylee's injuries. On November 30, 2022, he publicly contradicted what Kathy Mabut, the coroner, had said, how the victims had been stabbed with what seemed like a knife or sharp-edged weapon, by saying that the wounds were more like gouges, apparently caused by a professional weapon, something that could not break. The coroner, on the other hand, claimed that a sharp-edged weapon was used to stab the victims. Kaylee's father told us that a professional weapon that he described as brutal was used to make gouges in his daughter, Kaylee. Steve and Kaylee Goncalves claimed that they did not know what had happened to their daughter, Kaylee, until after the autopsies were performed. In summary, on November 16, 2022, the autopsy of Kaylee was performed, more than 72 hours after her murder. On November 30, it would be 14 days later when Steve Goncalves went on Good Morning America to inform the public of his difference of opinion with the coroner regarding the wounds, stabs to gouges, and the singular weapon used, sharp-edged weapon to a brutal professional weapon that would not break. Then the couple waited until April 8, 2024, to share this information with the public, that they did not know what had happened to their daughter until after the autopsy was performed.
It was on December 4th, 3 weeks after his daughter, Kaylee, was murdered, that Steve Goncalves came out on Fox News claiming that the means of death, or rather, the wounds on each of the victims, did not match. While we can agree that Kaylee was exploited, beaten, and tortured for a longer time than was Madison, both Madison and Kaylee suffered injury to their livers. How would he have known if his daughter's wounds were more significant than the other 3 victims?
You look at, there's all this stuff been coming out about victimhood culture and how it propagates and how it develops, and that's one of the things. It's called competitive victimhood.
Right.
You could call
competitive.
That's the formal term of people who study this.
I love that. Yeah. And that's wonderful. When people are fighting over who's a bigger victim.
But you see it all the time.
Victims of the same crime sometimes engage in competitive victimhood, which is a psychological process where individuals or groups argue that their suffering is greater than that of others, to either validate their experience, maintain moral superiority, or to secure resources. Sometimes this type of competition may arise over who is deemed most worthy of aid, sympathy, or justice. This behavior is often seen in high-conflict scenarios, such as when a group of equally valued members face accusations of harm. Where in this group of 4 families can we imagine one family or group harboring silent blame towards another victim family group member? Which family blamed the other for the loss of their child? Why do we not see a cohesive relationship between the Goncalveses and the Chapins? What about the Chapins and the Kernoodles? Does Stacy blame Xana? Does Hunter Chapin blame Kaylee? Do Steve and Christy blame Xana's passing out for the harm that was inflicted on their second daughter, Kaylee? What would Jack DeCoeur know if Jack was never there?
Send in the clouds, bring down the rain, shut all the blinds and turn out the lights. I feel insane when you get in my bed. I am the trick my mother played on the world. 17 doctors couldn't decide whether I should be allowed in the game. Why can't monsters get along with other monsters? Swati Santra, Swati Santra, Swati Santra.
That's enough. That's enough.
Oh.
That's enough.
I'd say both sides share the blame. So, there you are. Both sides share the blame.
Are you serious?
Excuse me?
That's what you really think?
It's what I think. Yes.
My son Ethan, who had to take 2 codeine at 3 in the morning, he shares the blame?
He's not necessarily innocent.
Get out of my house. You get the fuck out. Get the fuck out of my house! My bag! Alan!
What is going on here? They've totally lost it.
Alan! Do something! Alan, do something! Shut your mouth! She broke my makeup mirror and my perfume. Stand up for me. Why don't you stand up for me?
Let's go, Nancy.
It's not like I'm strangling her. What did I do to you? The blame is not shared. Right? The victim and the criminal are not the same. The criminal!
Give it a fucking rest, Penelope. Enough with this politically correct bullshit.
Which I believe in.
You believe. You believe. This crutch you got in these Sudan Sambos is spilling over into everything now.
I'm horrified. How can you be so openly despicable?
Because I feel like it. I feel like being openly despicable.
One day you will understand the sheer horror of what's happening in that part of the world, and you will be ashamed. You will be ashamed of your contemptibly nihilistic attitude.
Yes, Darjeeling, you're so wonderful. You're the best and the brightest.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Let's get out of here, Alan.
These people are monsters.
Well, stop it, Nancy.
No. I want to drink some more. I want to get drunk off my ass. This bitch throws my bag against the ceiling. Nobody lifts a finger. I want to be blind drunk.
You're drunk enough.
How can you let her call her son a criminal? We come over here to work things out with them, and they insult us, they browbeat us, they lecture us about being good citizens of the planet. I am glad our son kicked the shit out of your son, and I wipe my ass with your human rights.
Wow. You had a couple drinks in her and bam! Her true self comes out. What happened to that gracious, demure woman with the soft eyes?
I told you.
What did you tell him?
She's a fake. That woman is totally fake. I'm sorry.
When did you say that?
When you were drying your pants.
You'd known her 15 minutes and you already knew she was fake?
Well, I pick up on these things pretty quickly.
Both of Kaylee's parents tried to draw attention to Kaylee's injuries, being more brutal than Maddie's, as if it was a competition. The importance here was with their daughter, Kaylee, The fact that both girls arriving at their off-campus rental at approximately 2 a.m. had liver lacerations would have told the public that there was a chance that those who had stabbed Kaylee and Maddie could have been left-handed. Why would Steve try to divert attention away from this important investigative feature? Steve and Christy don't mind telling us about their daughter's injuries, but they also don't like to demonstrate them to us. Wouldn't showing the public better convince the public that the right guy was picked? Or would showing us photos of their daughter have the opposite effect? They want sympathy. They want to financially benefit from their loss of Kaylee, but they don't want to be truthful about what it is that they know. And this is the truth.
They're making a profit off your dead loved ones, and that was going on.
They're relishing in it.
Right. At least our kid isn't a little wimpy ass faggot. Yours is a fucking snitch. Let's go, Alan. Why are we still in this house? Exactly. Here. This is what I think of your stupid tulips, his flowers.
I'll cut to the chase.
Yeah.
Their means of death don't match.
Maddie's
They don't.
and Kaylee's cause of death, it does not match based on the autopsy report.
They don't match.
Would indicate.
We're just glad to be done with it. We're glad to move on.
When you said drunk, passed out girls gagging girls, was there something that happened at the crime scene involving gagging that you heard?
Yeah. That's what we've heard. That's why we want to get all these facts straight. So we don't want to have a statement that isn't accurate. But when you have a prosecution that just is okay with covering everything up and not telling you what's going on, it's hard to be accurate. And they've criticized us for not being accurate on certain things. And it's because we're not getting the facts. Parents shouldn't have to beg to know what happened to their kid the last 24 hours of their life.
It's been a busy day. We've really come to know each other over these last years. I'm live on. Yeah, do you want to join?
Sure.
Thank you for being here with me. We've talked a little bit about how you guys are learning a lot of information that you didn't know. I was a bit surprised by that, given how much you have invested in finding out the truth. You've had private investigators working with you. You have been diligent, as your kids have been diligent. Is there anything that you want us to know moving forward in terms of this recent meeting that you had that revealed some information to you?
Honestly, I think that I don't know if it's going to be helpful, but it just America needs to hear it, that the details are far more horrific than anybody ever imagined. Far more horrific.
And we know Kaylee was a fighter.
Yes.
And what the rumors about him treating female students differently, those were all confirmed.
And female cohort?
Yep, and he was under an investigation. That's all true. He wasn't fired. They said his funding was pulled, which is almost equivalent to being fired because you can't remain in the program without the funding. But this guy was arrogant. He thought women were beneath him. So I thought it was fitting that Olivia just chopped him up in pieces.
Olivia chopped him up in pieces. Do you remember when Kaylee's father, Steve, first made an appearance on GMA, days after she was murdered along with 3 of her housemates? Here are a few more statements that the world needs to remember, because we believe that Steve Goncalves knows much more than he has been pretending to know until now. Why is this important? Because Steve has caused me to believe that he knows where the knife is. Do not ask why. Let us listen to Steve's words. Tell me what they mean, please. This is for you, WSU. If you're responsible, then so are 4 more entities from Moscow, Idaho. The first statement from Steve is, "Please don't let my child be the target."
The target really does bother me, because no one can win in that kind of terminology. It just makes us all feel like, please don't be my child, that's the target.
People can blame all kinds of people, but when it really comes down to the hardcore facts, there's some things I could have done where my daughter wouldn't have been put in that situation.
As a dad, you know, people can blame all kinds of people, but when it really comes down to the hardcore facts, there's some things I could have done where my daughter wouldn't have been put in that situation.
I'm truly responsible for my daughter dying 'cause it's a father's job to keep their children protected. And I obviously didn't live up to that.
I'm truly responsible for my daughter dying because it's a father's job to keep their children protected. And I obviously didn't live up to that.
They better have something. They better have something. 'Cause if you're just hiding all this and you got nothing, it's very hard to forgive. People, what would be very hard to forgive? Steve Goncalves has many a time mentioned forgiveness, and this is a revealing quality to his core being. No matter what you hear, and despite his faults, who of us are without signature faults and shortcomings? We continue to witness Steve, and sometimes Christy, mention forgiveness. In this mention of forgiveness, what would he have to forgive the police for? Or is this just another manipulative tactic, accusing others for something he is guilty of having done himself?
Have something. They better have something. Because if you're just hiding all this and you got nothing, it's pretty hard to forgive.
We're learning new details from Steve Goncalves, who says his family was able to crack into Kaylee's phone for police instead of detectives going through a process that would have taken weeks.
We got in there right away. We were able to adjust some of the timelines. They didn't have the exact same notes as we did. I heard Ethan's parents, I believe, suggested that their timeline might need to be adjusted as well.
Why would Steve Goncalves need access to potential evidence, such as phones, laptops, and other possessions belonging to one or more of the decedents left at the crime scene, daughter or not? Listen to Steve talk about the pieces of evidence before law enforcement could get a hold of it.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get any help. We don't have a victim's advocate. She's bound by the rules of that court. So if the judge tells her to shut her mouth and don't talk about it, there's an open investigation of the leak, and she's a part of that team. She can't talk to us. We brought up the leak in court January 13th. Gray accused that office of leaking the information, and ever since then, we've been able to prove that we knew about the sheaf and the DNA, CODIS hit, all that stuff before. And you think if there's an investigation, why hasn't anyone ever called us and asked us where we heard it? You know, so there's no investigation going on. They're lying to Hitler if they're telling him there's an investigation. There's no investigation going on, because the first person who told you that there was leaks and proved to you by telling you what they've heard, that eventually becomes part of your case. You know, the sheep, we knew about the sheep before it was. We knew about the white car before they released it. They never came and asked us who told us that information. They didn't even try. So,
Who was it?
Oh, I would never. I'm not going to give that information out. You know, I really respect the people that actually reached out and tried to help us. They're awesome mothers and fathers, and they cared about their community, and they wanted to make sure that this was done the right way.
To hear all this. So let me just start. How are you guys doing after today?
We keep saying one day at a time, but these type of days are ones that really push you hard, for sure.
Is there anything that came out from these filings, from this report, that gave you any kind of answers that you might have been looking for about what happened?
We learned brand new things. Those details that were put in those docs were never given to us. They were given to strangers.
Given to strangers? Which strangers, Steve? How would he know which strangers are receiving information about these victims? This is equivalent to someone saying that Steve is selling images for money to customers abroad. It's too vague and mostly speculative. The autopsy info in new court docs. He continues to wring out this drama for all that it's worth, like the prostitute that he is. Anything to get more media attention and money off of an opportunistic civil suit. They created the LinkedIn drama. This is one way how the Goncalves family exploited Kaylee. They also exploited Kaylee and their attention craving by telling the world how the coroner informed one of their children of Kaylee's injuries. They did it with saying that their daughter was trapped. Yet they had no information. They did it when they came to tell people that their daughter was left sitting up in the corner. Who told or showed him this? In the beginning, they were the only parents who accused the prosecutor of leaking. Not even a month in, they criticized all law enforcement on the case. Steve said to us the words, "They died fast." Did he imply that all 4 victims died fast? How would he know? Christy has said the same, that it was an in-and-out job. Was it an in-and-out job with Kaylee? He said it was done with a brutal weapon that wouldn't break. How would he know? Whose photos has he been looking at all of this time? Dylan's? Movies and all, huh? Sweet. Months before crime scene photos were released, Olivia Goncalves requested a meeting with prosecutor Bill Thompson, wanting to see the images herself first. So from this meeting, the public learned that a Goncalves decided the public would learn, namely, experimental injuries, which we could clearly hear taking place on a neighbor's camera. We never heard a peep out of Cara Kernodle Northington, Xana's mother, or from father, Jeff Kernodle, about the 50-plus stab wounds sustained by their daughter. We never heard about Madison's lacerated liver from her parents, nor did we hear about Madison's liver from Steve. How would he know? We consider them equal as victims, of equal value considering the loss of each of their families. They deserved a fair process of investigation as well as a fair process of trial. They received neither. Instead, if we are to believe all that there has been to believe of this grotesque display of humanity all around.
Hey, Eugene, have you seen John?
It's a cold night beneath the street light. There's a man whose pants are too tight. Oh no, his pants are too tight. My pants are too tight. He stands there, an empty stare, trying to make enough money for his cab fare home. He'll have to walk home tonight. Don't have enough for the ride. The streets are cruel, he tries to act cool. He goes to work with only his one tool. You can put away your tool. Johnny, you don't have to be a prostitute. No, 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 no. You can say no to be cannot see my way out. He can't see his way out. Male prostitution seems to be my only option. He can't see his way out.